It has been a year since Chicago's stages went dark due to the pandemic. The impact has been devastating for thousands of people who rely on a thriving theater business. But performers are now putting their virtual heads together to reimagine entertainment. ABC 7's Roz Varon showing us today how they're building a better Chicago.
We were the first to close, and we will probably be the last to open.
Broadway shut down, and we knew it was inevitable, and within about 10 hours, the Goodmans stopped the production.
You cannot see me. No, no.
We had just opened a production called The Healing, and it was about latent racism and how do we heal from that.
Sometimes you have to let the uncomfortable pass through to get to the other side of it.
And 3 days later, we had to close that production. So that was heartbreaking.
And then in about July, we saw sort of the crippling loss of our industry. With no end in sight, we didn't know when or if we would ever come back. So we declared that the Mercury Theater was closed permanently.
When the theaters closed, it didn't just affect the actors. It affected the set designers, costumers, lighting professionals, makeup artists, musicians, and to a broader extent, commerce.
Broadway in Chicago alone brings 1.7 million people into the loop every year. Hotels, restaurants, the retail, the vibrancy of the street just as a whole.
We decided to pivot and use Zoom.
So talk to me a little bit about It's a Wonderful Life.
Our actors, they were champs. We gave them costumes only sort of waist up. We gave them set pieces that they had to assemble behind them, so all of the backgrounds matched. Half of our rehearsals was figuring out, do I look there? Do I look there?
Wait just a minute. We can
wait a minute. Peter Bailey was not a businessman. Ideals without common sense can ruin this town.
A friend of mine called me while I was in Chicago, and they're in New York, and they said, hey, we're thinking about doing this sort of virtual musical. And I'm like, virtual musical? What do you mean? Now we all know what that means.
They're the worst.
And so they wrote this show about the murder mystery and the dinner party, and they created a world in which we could all be in the same place without being in the same place. But for now, anyway, most of the events I do are just like this. I'll be sitting right here with a guitar, singing some Hamilton tunes until further notice.
Roz Varon, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Oh, we will take it, though, in the meantime. Theaters are getting creative to safely host smaller audiences. And Roz will show us what is being done to get the lights back on. That's tomorrow on the news at 11 a.m.